All right. Can I interest you in a World Series rematch? Dodgers, Blue Jays.
I was all in on this, and it got out of hand.
Yeah, it got out of hand real quick. Former Blue Jay Teoscar Hernandez, his second home run of the season. That's a 2-run homer.
Dodgers are going with a little darker blue.
I noticed that.
It?
I did. Bottom of the first, Ernie Clement. Remember, he had a great World Series, great postseason last year.
Big earn.
Big earn. That's going to fall. That's going to bring in George Springer.
Exactly what you think he is.
Just a grinder.
Awesome.
A dude.
Awesome.
All right. So, during the top of the third, Max Scherzer talking with John Schneider, forced to leave the game after just 2 innings with forearm tightness.
Slingshot engage. He caught every stitch of it.
Yeah,
That's one of the furthest homers he's ever hit.
Freddie Freeman's locked in right now. Remember in the opening homestand, the Dodgers scored 6 runs in their first 6 games, and I had a couple people going, when are you going to talk about the Dodgers offense? Send, enter. Well, they have scored 45 runs in their last 4 games. That's Shohei. Those 45 runs.
We know, Robert, we know.
The 45 runs.
You're one of those guys.
Most runs a team has scored through their first 4 road games since 1900. Dalton Rushing is their backup catcher. He had 4 hits and 2 bombs.
And with Dalton Rushing, just do not look Will Smith directly in the eye.
The Dodgers roll in a World Series rematch, 14-2.
If you were in charge of the scoring, you were busy. Woo! Indeed, LA scored every inning but the 2nd and the 9th. And I was thinking to myself, how Dodgers is it that the number 8 hitter, Dalton Rushing, have a night, by the way, 4 hits, 2 home runs, reached base in all 5 plate appearances. How do you can't, as a pitcher, D-Ray, you can't shy away from all of them. How do you even pitch to that lineup? Robert said it years ago. They have 18 lineups, and we're seeing it again.
You nailed this 5 years ago. You saw it coming.
I did.
They have like
It's a conveyor. It's a conveyor belt of talent.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there. I was like, all right, we gotta have a funny mock-up with Brendan. And I know it's a little early. June, July, we start heading down to Seaside Heights.
Yeah.
GTL, Jim Tan Laundry.
Heading out on the midway, playing the game.
I think back to the late 80s, early 90s. There was nothing. You wanted to be alive? You put a bum equipment sweatshirt on, a hoop earring, and you walked up to the boardwalk at
Puka shells, yes?
Absolutely. Little
Get
sun
some
in.
Coors custard.
Of course. Of course. And you go up to the boardwalk and you check things out. Maybe ride some rides, slaughter a Coors cone, chocolate, no vanilla.
No twist.
And in between riding the rides, you play those games, right? You try and win the big, oversized stuffed animals.
Right.
And one of those games, there was a couple. There was Frog Bog. There was different things, but there was always a whack-a-mole.
How about you win the goldfish and the goldfish dies in 20 hours? Just me.
And you just get a new one.
It's not a
That was the
sturdy
ping pong balls in the fish tank.
Scam.
But I was sitting there last night and I'm saying to myself, Max Scherzer's knocking down certain guys and like 5 more pop up in this lineup.
Yeah.
So I said, Brendan, take me to the boardwalk. 2 months a little bit early. Here we are. Used to ride the Jetstar. That ended up in the middle of the Atlantic after Sandy. But there he is. And you always run into this guy. He's working.
The Carney?
The Carney working the whack-a-mole. Dave Roberts, you don't have double tat sleeves. But we knocked down Mookie Betts with an oblique. You know who Max Scherzer had to stare at 1, 2, 3 in the lineup? It was Ohtani, Kyle Tucker, Freddie Freeman. And Freddie Freeman is starting to find his stroke. Kyle Tucker, 5th in Major League Baseball in weighted runs created plus since the start of 2024. Freddie, he almost went deep multiple times last night. He has a 130 OPS plus or higher in each of his 14 seasons. Knock those 3 guys down. You know who pops up? Teoscar Hernandez and Max Muncy. Teoscar Hernandez could bat 6th, 7th, up. Let's try him in the 4-hole because he averages 33 bombs and 107 RBIs per 162 games since 2020. How about Max Muncy? 2nd best weighted runs created plus among third basemen over the last 2 seasons. Will Smith, let's knock you over the head and give you a day. R&R day. You know who pops up? Dalton Rushing. Dalton Rushing is 6 for 9 with 3 jacks this year. He's on base 5 times last night. It never stops. Tommy Edman goes down. Let's knock him down to mid-May, early June when he comes back. We're going to put Andy Pages, who went 5 for 41 in the postseason last year, but made a game-saving catch in Game 7. What does he do? He shows up to Arizona this year on a heater, and he has been unstoppable the first couple games, hitting .474 with 3 homers, 12 RBIs, and almost a 1,300 OPS in 10 games this year. So just sitting there, it's relentless. It's interchangeable for Dave Roberts. I was just trying to sit there. I remember watching when we first threw the WBC lineup out there in Arizona, and Adrian Hauser was pitching for the Giants, and he had to just kind of go through it. I'm like, my God, that's a lot to get through.
Yeah.
But this is a normal team. And there, Max Scherzer gets on the bump last night, and I'm like, okay, he's got to face the greatest player we've ever seen to lead off, and then he gets Kyle Tucker, who hits 30 and 100, and then he's got arguably the guy who, if I'm going to the electric chair, is taking the AB for me in Freddie Freeman, and then let's throw the wild horse Teoscar in the 4 slot.
And one of the best clutch hitters in recent postseason history, Will Smith, wasn't even in the lineup.
He was down.
Yeah. Max Scherzer says he's hopeful he can make his next start. But, man, right now the Blue Jays, they are going through some injuries in their rotation. Let's go to St. Petersburg for...
It's a swing yesterday, including Ohtani and Freddie Freeman.
Mantiply delivers the 2-1. And Ohtani blisters a ball left center field, pushing Varsho back on the warning track. He turns and watches it fly. Shohei Ohtani with his 3rd home run of this road trip. A solo shot to lead off the 6th. The 3-2 from Rojas. Ground ball left side. Muncy has it at 3rd. Throws across. And Espino has it. Picks him up with that throw a little bit. And that is a win for L.A.
We sort of picked back up from yesterday, late in the game. And just the at-bats all around. Taking walks, getting hits, passing the baton situationally, really good. Even just early on, getting a guy over, driving him in with the sac fly. Those are things that, run the base as well. And obviously, we threw out a lot of hits today, but, I think we're just doing things the right way and running deeper counts, hitting to the opposite field. And obviously, Dalton had a huge night, so that was good to see. But, everyone, 1 through 9 was really solid.
That's Dave Roberts on getting bored of winning there for the Dodgers. It sounded like
bored, 14. Didn't he? I was going to say, he sounds so bored. Sac flies, home runs, and we had one guy with 2 homers, and like he's bored to death with winning. What in the world?
Oh my goodness! I think what yesterday's game represents, Steve, is just the depth that we continue to talk about. Dalton rushing 4 hits, 2 home runs, his first multi-home run game. But the backup catcher and the impact that he has, some great swings on the day yesterday, but it's a prime example of how deep they go. And think about Justin Robleski, who went out there and made the Toronto Blue Jays lineup look like it was just nothing in the 5 innings that he pitched. So it shows you that they have depth in that rotation. With another player that can come up and you'd be a 3, a 4, or 5 in that rotation. Dalton rushing. You saw Ohtani, Freddie Freeman do his thing. Guys taking great swings yesterday. And I think, one of the things that may hurt, and we saw this yesterday, watch to see if this is a theme, Max Scherzer. This is a rotation, the Blue Jays, that's already getting tested. Max Scherzer had to come out of this game after the 2nd inning yesterday. I think some forearm tightness. So guys that they're really counting on to eat up innings have already gone down early on, and we'll see how the Blue Jays respond. But yesterday, the Dodgers have now scored 45 runs over their last 4 games, and it looks like the same old Dodgers, Steve.
Yeah, it sure does. And I think for the Blue Jays, they are reeling right now. 4 pitchers on the IL. They're going to check out Scherzer, and he thinks he'll be okay to make his next start. They don't have Alejandro Kirk, who fractured and dislocated his thumb. And so he's out as well. Jose Barrios unable to pitch. So he's working his way back from the stress fracture in his elbow. So they've got a lot going on there, do the Toronto Blue Jays. All right, we wound 3rd, head home with a home run. And Pat Murphy, manager for the Milwaukee Brewers, was doing a lot of yelling